Can't say because channels are already there.
Yeah.
We have to be very, very careful. That's why I
Yes.
use the word who is the thorn and rose. Anyway,
Yeah.
we are starting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That we are aware. We thought of spending good time.
Amen. Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4NEWS, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Karu News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is very, very current, not only current, but it is very relevant. And the topic is defense research in India. Defense is one of the major spending sectors in the Indian economy. The geographical and topographically diversity, especially the 15,000 kilometer long border which India shares with 7 neighboring countries, poses unique challenges to the Indian defense forces. And to keep our defense forces updated with the latest technology, instead that I will be speaking, I would like to share 2 videos which were provided to me by one of the panelists, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, and these videos will enlighten you about the defense research in India. So please wait. I will be just sharing those videos right now. Some technical hitch. No, now I think I will be able to do it.
The time comes, India will awake to life and freedom.
15th of August, 1947, India attained independence from the British Empire and started a new journey with the pledge of building a strong, self-reliant, responsible nation. The newly independent nation's aspiration to be self-supporting defense entity began with the establishment of the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, in 1958, with the amalgamation of the then already functioning technical development establishments and Defense Science Organization. The early decade of DRDO ushered the organization into a new era with the development of major systems and subsystems. The 81mm illuminating ammunition, the 105mm fin-stabilized armor-piercing discarding sabot, FSA PDS, Mines Anti-Tank Non-Detectable, Flare Tripwire Mark II, power cartridges, additive liner, reusable rocket pod, air-launched missile target were developed and went into production. Prototypes of a number of armoured tracked and wheeled vehicles, bridges and field defence equipment underwent users' evaluation. Electronic systems constitute an important part of a modern weapon system. Microwave components, laser rangefinders for T-55, night vision devices and optical instruments went into bulk production. Technology of Indra Doppler radar, secondary surveillance radar, battlefield surveillance radar and IFF system was transferred to BEL and HAL. DRDO's life science laboratories developed a number of field kits for water testing, desert water desalting, and meat testing. Pressure-breathing oxygen masks, dehydrated foods and vegetables were developed, and facilities for biomedical research were established. The decade also witnessed development activities in the field of rockets and missiles. The design and development of the dual-thrust solid propellant rocket motor, flow-formed components, FRP radome, CW radio proximity fuse, GW command guidance unit, KU-band solid-state impact sources, and batteries were taken up. In the field of naval research and development, the focus was on sonar technologies, underwater acoustics, underwater weapons, and oceanographic instruments. A breakthrough in critical materials like aircraft brakes, Arjun components, ceramics, electro-slag casting for armored plates, Jackal steel for combat vehicle armor, Kanchan armor for immunity against various kinds of ammunition, titanium alloy, ultra-high-strength FSAPDS core, solid-state materials, polymer materials, and clothing and general stores was achieved. The 70s and 80s witnessed sanctioning of major projects for the development of the main battle tank, light combat aircraft, and integrated guided missile development program. Today, at 60, a small footprint of 10 establishments has transformed into more than 50 laboratories. The torchbearer of the defense R&D has given to the country one of India's most successful defense research project, the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. All the missiles, the Prithvi and Agni series, Akash and Nag under the program, have been successfully developed. The organization has also developed sophisticated missiles, including land, sea and air-launched versions of the supersonic cruise missile BrahMos, exo and endo-atmospheric advanced air defense missile system, quick reaction surface-to-air missile and long-range surface-to-air missile, the beyond visual range air-to-air missile Astra, the subsonic cruise missile Nirbhay, Shaurya and Prahar, light combat aircraft Tejas, main battle tank Arjun, airborne early warning and control system, advanced towed artillery gun system, multi-barrel rocket launch system Pinaka, robots and unmanned vehicles, a number of radars, torpedoes, underwater sensors, electronic systems, engineering systems, specialty and naval materials and life sciences, and chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear systems. DRDO has made significant contributions in the country's defense preparedness. The organization is reinforcing the Make in India initiative by building an ecosystem for enhancing cutting-edge technological capability for defense manufacturing through technology transfer and partnership with industry. 30 ordnance factories, 40 public sector units, 30 major private industries and more than 1,000 other private industries are engaged in production of the indigenous technologies developed by DRDO. The production value of the DRDO developed products today stands at more than 2.5 lakh crore, a phenomenal growth of more than 60% in production value of DRDO developed products since 2015. 1,472 granted and filed IPRs comprising 78 patents granted in the year 2017. 741 technology transfers, including 112 in the year 2017. 139 products ready for export. 6 centers of excellence, 7 young scientist centers speaks volumes about its achievements. The most women-empowered organization today is a force to reckon with and moving ahead with confidence towards a future which her visionary leaders envisioned for a self-reliant, strong India. DRDO, the force behind the Indian forces. Jai Hind.
I would like to share one more video, and I would like to inform that DRDO has also collaborated with Dr. Reddy's laboratory to develop the COVID vaccine, which we have seen recently that by the name of Covaxin, and it's indigenously developed by them. So this shows that the DRDO is not only doing the research work only for the defense, but for the public at large by doing this. So again, some technicalities are there. That is a problem with the latest technology nowadays. Yeah, I got it.
LCA Tejas program is a story of the triumph of indigenous design, development and production prowess, and a success saga of a 4+ generation indigenous military fighter aircraft. This indigenous fighter aircraft development leapfrogged India from HF-24 Marut to bridge a huge technology gap. The LCA prototype carried out its maiden flight in 2001. In the year 2003, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee christened the LCA as Tejas. Since the kickoff of flight testing, technology demonstrators, prototype vehicles and series production versions together clocked a total of over 6,000 incident-free sorties, which in itself is a remarkable achievement. Since the accord of the initial operation clearance, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has delivered 17 fighters. The LCA is a classic example of Atmanirbhar Bharat. As envisioned by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Atmanirbhar Bharat is powering Indian aerospace and defense to surge towards self-reliance.
कि इसका मार्ग एक ही है, आत्मनिर्भर भारत.
The Indian Air Force has awarded a mammoth order worth 48,000 crore rupees for the supply of 83 LCAs in Mark 1A configuration. This is a huge boost to the nation's Atmanirbhar drive. The LCA Mark 1A will be integrated with jam-proof ASAR radar, most advanced electronic warfare suite, and beyond visual range air-to-air missiles firing capability. It will be extremely maintenance-friendly with reduced turnaround time. The LCA Mark 1A program follows the system integrator model and has created a national aerospace ecosystem with the participation of approximately 600 business partners. It is estimated that as the LCA Mark 1A program kicks off, it will generate primary significant jobs across the country in the private sector and will foster local industry. The LCA Tejas is going to be the backbone of the IAF fighter fleet in the years to come and is slated to be produced in high numbers. The production rate for this increased requirement by the Indian Air Force is being augmented by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited through the creation of a state-of-the-art new facility in Bengaluru. Apart from IAF, the LCA has generated interest among many friendly countries like Malaysia, Bahrain, Sri Lanka and others. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is the largest aerospace and defense manufacturer in Southeast Asia, will elevate India to the position of global defense exporter in the near future with the radiance of the LCA.
So you have seen how the DRDO is doing the research for defense, and they have developed so many indigenous weapons, the aircrafts and whatnot. And I would like to mention just a few more things as that DRDO and HAL have been responsible for the system design and integration of these upgrades, which combined indigenously developed systems along with imported one. DRDO contributed subsystems like the Tarang radar warning receiver, Tempest jammer, core avionics computers, brake parachutes, cockpit instrumentation and displays. HAL AMCA Aeronautical Development Agency of DRDO is responsible for the design and development of the 5th generation aircraft. Defense Laboratory Jodhpur, in collaboration with High Energy Materials Research Laboratory, developed an improved shaft material and shaft cartridge 118/1 for the Indian Air Force to protect Indian military aircraft from radar jamming and deception. And to discuss this very, very important topic today, that is defense research in India, we have a very elite, well experienced, those who have experienced in this field in one way or the other, panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS is one-man expert commission on labor to prepare an action plan for the welfare and development of the workforce in the context of COVID-19. He is also the principal advisor, National Heritage Project. He was former head of disaster management, Government of India, and Central Draft Relief Commissioner, Government of India. He was the Vice Chancellor of National Museum, University of Delhi. To his credit, 300 publications, including 45 books in English, Malayalam, and Hindi novels, short stories, and essays. 4 of his books have become bestsellers. One book of his on housing received prestigious the Sharjah International Book Fair Award. Dr. Bose is a housing expert, innovator, writer, orator, and visionary. The path-breaking institutions set up by him, such as Narmiti Kendra, Building Center, District Tourism Council, and Habitat Alliance, have been replicated at the state, national, and global level. He was the head of the prestigious Supreme Court Committee on the Treasurers of Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple. Dr. Bose had a divine mission of coordinating the design and construction of the sanctorum of Chakula Tukabu Temple. Dr. Bose addressed United Nations General Assembly and specialized sessions 5 times on various international issues. Dr. Bose is a recipient of 31 national and international awards, including United Nations Global Best Practice Award. He also received prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru Fellowship. Kerala government termed him Lord of Ideas. Former Prime Minister Mr. Manmohan Singh called him inspired civil servant, and our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi called him Man of Ideas. Welcome, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, on our show. Dr. Bose, you have seen how the DRDO has progressed, and you being on the head of many very strategic key position in the government of India, and especially when you are associated with atomic energy as a head of the atomic energy in government of India. Definitely, you have a fair idea about what is happening and how the research takes place in different departments. We would like to know your views on defense research in India. Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. I was impressed and inspired by the 2 videos which you have shown here, which highlights the growth and development of the DRDO in this country. First of all, let me make it very clear. I am not a scientist. I happen to be in the Department of Atomic Energy as a chairman of the Atomic Energy Educational Institutions. But I had the opportunity to be with the eminent scientists because I was in charge as a government's representative of prestigious research institutions like the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Trombay, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, the Indian Physical Institute, Institute of Physics, Orissa, Harishchandra Research Institute, Indian Plasma Research Institute, the Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, to name a few. One thing which has impressed me most is that Indian scientists, there is a lot of pursuit of excellence among them. This is my considered opinion now. India's destiny is being shaped in her laboratories. Our scientists have proved themselves to the whole world that Indian scientists are innovators, pioneers. They are pathbreakers. They are not copycats. 25 years back, Indian scientists used to go abroad to get training from there. Now, Indian scientists go abroad to train the people there. That is a sea change that has come in the world of scientific experiment and research in this country. And now, when we come to defense research, I'm fortunate to have it in a nutshell here now. You see, the DRDO has proved its mettle. The DRDO has come of age, impressing the entire country. They have not only done pioneering research and found solutions to many of our problems in defense, they have also been able to establish vibrant and dynamic partnership with the industry. That is a synergy which I would underline and focus here. Now, the various questions arise before us. We cannot win a war on the strength of some other country. We have to indigenize. We should be able to have our research in defense technology, and we should be able to develop arms and ammunition and whatever is required by the forces to defend this country. As all of us know, Frank Whittle, the inventor of turbojet engine, he said the ability of a nation to win a modern war is as much as its technological ability. That is where the DRDO has proudly answered a question which the people of India had raised before them. Are you able to defend this country? DRDO has demonstrated beyond doubt that they have been able to provide all the technology that is required so that our valiant soldiers, the Army, Navy, and Air Force can defend this country to the hilt. Kudos to them. 3 cheers to the scientists of DRDO who have done this. Now the question is, are we indigenizing? This is my personal opinion. When we have the internal strength, why do we still depend on other countries? I'm not here to blame the government. Government will take policy decisions from time to time. But I'm going to underscore one important point, that India has to go more and more for indigenization in the field of our defense equipment and preparedness. For instance, recently, we had a disturbing news that China has deployed nuclear-powered submarine, attack submarine, in the Indian Ocean. Of course, there is no evidence that they have not pried into the territorial waters of India. But they say that this deployment of the nuclear-powered submarine is as a part of the anti-piracy operations off the coast of Somalia. No one is a fool to believe that. Here are the Navy officials who say, Navy sources have said that while no Chinese nuclear submarine has been actively tracked trying to probe India's territorial waters, there is a recognition that a great game of submarine subterfuge, yes, submarine subterfuge, which is a feature of the Cold War, may now be breaking out in the Indian Ocean. This is a warning to us. A key player in this new submarine game is China's new type 093 Shang class fast attack nuclear submarine, at least 6 of which have been either built or deployed. So China, with its submarine power, is at our back door. And China is building up military bases, though they don't call it that way, from Djibouti. And we have in Sri Lanka recently, the Hambantota naval base. And also we had the surreptitious establishment which the Chinese had built up in Khalifa in UAE, which of course, because of the intervention of USA, they had to go slow on this. And Karachi, as we know, is almost a part of China as far as the military importance is. Of course, Karachi port is under disposal. It has always been. at the disposal of China, even though it belongs to the Pakistan. And now we have Gwadar. It's a very funny tale. Gwadar is a backward district in Pakistan. China is investing more than $1 billion in building a modern port there. Why? This port has no commercial value. It is not important in the economic field at all. But they would like to convert it into a military naval base as and when required. And around us in Myanmar, yes, Kaipu port is there. All these ports can be turned into naval bases whenever China needs it. And we all know, I'm sure the DRDO and the defense strategists are fully aware of this. China has passed a legislation, National Defense Transport Law, where all the state-owned enterprises, when they build ports in other countries, have to follow the military specifications. So what does it mean? It means India is surrounded by China. It's a submarine power, it's naval power. India is surrounded by China. And we know China is not very friendly to this country, even though we have given the taste of the Indian power through the various strikes, surgical strikes we have made. Still, we have to take into account that China is closing in around us. And how do we defend it? Now come to the naval power. See the NPOL, National Physical and Oceanographical Laboratory. They have developed to the perfection the technology of sonar. We have sonar, which can be used by the Indian Navy for its naval exercises and with the submarine brigade. Yes, India has indigenous production, but even when we have indigenous production, indigenous technology, how came? This is a moot question, which in the corridors of scientific laboratories, the scientists are asking in a mute manner. When we have developed excellent technology within this country, how came that even now we depend on other countries for technology? When we depend on other countries to win a war, what will happen? At a critical moment, they can jam the equipment, whether it is sonar or any other sophisticated equipment. They can share the vulnerabilities with the adversaries when there is a crisis. And also the cost of procurement, cost of maintenance is very high compared to the indigenous production. Now, what is wrong with us? I would to make it the serious topics in a lighter way. You know, there was a dog. This dog was a very trained dog, very intelligent dog. It will go to the department store, take the provisions and materials as per the list given to it, tie it on its neck. It will pay the bill at the counter, come to the metro station, take the ticket, get in the train, and go to the house and deliver the packet of materials which is as boss for the master of the house. The owner of the shop thought, this is a very interesting dog. So he chased the dog and saw what it was doing all the way. Very intelligent dog. But at the door of the house, the dog stopped for a while, barked and went behind the house, came back to the front door. The lady of the house came and opened the door. The shop owner said, you have a very intelligent dog. I appreciate him. You know what the lady said? This stupid fellow, this is the second time he is forgetting to take the key of the door. This is our approach at times to indigenous development. You know, we have developed the internal strength. That internal strength has to be progressively used so that India becomes independent as far as defense technology is concerned. Now, go back to history. Is there any country which has been able to win a war and sustain the victory with the help of others? No. You have two instances, one of Rome, the other of Greece. The great Roman Empire fell. You know why? Because they engaged paid mercenaries to fight the war for them. They engaged slaves to work in the estates. When the critical hour came, there was nobody to fight for them. Roman Empire fell. But look at the Greek Empire. The Greeks had what is called comradeship in arms. No difference or whether you're a patriarch or a plebeian. In the war, all of you fight together. That is why Greeks could sustain the civilization which Romans could not. There's a lesson for us. We have to equip ourselves. We have to indigenize. We have to be self-sufficient in defense technology. That is what our scientists have been able to achieve. I was delighted to see what has been given here in these two videos that are presented here. In every field of defense research, India is head and shoulder above the rest of the countries. We have to realize the inner strength. We have to find out our plus points, and we have to come together and decide that India is second to none as far as defense technology is concerned. And nuclear technology, I don't want to dwell at length on this. These things are better kept as confidential as possible. But we know very well that when America started coming forward to give us nuclear reactors and nuclear technology, there are widespread protests from the nuclear scientists themselves. I happened to be in the Department of Atomic Energy at that time, attending various such meetings. Our scientists, some of whom were chairman of the Department of Atomic Energy earlier, including Sathina, including Iyengar, they said, why do America give this technology now? When Indian technology is almost nearing its completion of perfection, now they are coming to give us this. As you know, there is a denial regime as far as military nuclear equipment, nuclear power is concerned, as far as nuclear fuel is concerned. Yes, uranium. The nuclear countries, powerful, the nuclear haves and nuclear have-nots. The nuclear haves were unwilling to spare it with India. But when they knew India is reaching its perfection in its internal technological development, they came forward. There is a feeling, growing feeling, that as far as Indian defense research is concerned, India has proved to the whole world we are second to none. We can bypass, we can surpass other countries in various sectors, particularly in sonar. Yes, still we have to realize our inherent potential. India should indigenize or perish. That is going to be the watchword of the future. Our scientists who are toiling upwards in the night in the various laboratories in this country, they have proved to all of us that they can deliver. India is ready. DRDO is ready. Indian Army is ready. Indian Navy is ready. Indian Air Force is ready. As you know, we know very well in India, a more powerful army with more powerful leaders and more powerful weapons can make a powerful army with powerful leaders and powerful weapons powerless. What is important? It is said an army or sheep led by a lion is more effective than an army of lions led by a sheep. Yes, we have an army of lions led by a super lion. I say 3 cheers to V4N Rawat, who upheld the honor of the Indian Defense Forces. India salutes him, and through him, India salutes its Army, Navy, Air Force. India has 3 cheers to the scientists of DRDO, who has made this nation self-sufficient in defense research. Let us be self-sufficient in defense production, and let us be that military superpower which India is destined to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. C.V. Bose, for giving your very strong views about the defense research in India. And I will just highlight one point which he has mentioned. He says 25 years back, the Indian scientists used to go abroad to be trained. But now the time has changed when Indian scientists are going abroad to train others. So this must change, according to Dr. C.V. Bose, is because of the everyday new things have been happening and so much research are taking place in India. And that's why now Indian research is of the world class and rather second to none other country. And he says that is why our Army, Air Force and Navy are on very, very strong footage, and we can face any enemy, including China, because of our scientists who are working day and night to provide the necessary arms and ammunition to our defense forces. And in the last, he has also paid homage to General V4N Rawat for his untimely death. But he says this is a homage to him, and through him we are paying homage to all the defense services in Navy, Army, and Air Force. And we feel that if we will be doing this collectively, which we are doing now, the Indian military power will be the global leader very soon. Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, for giving your views. I was told that you have to attend some meeting and you have to go. So I would like to ask one question before you leave, so that we will be taking your views. Dr. Bose, there are some talks about the defense cooperation. So my question to you is, do you think defense cooperation among the like-minded countries is the need of the hour, since no country can meet its all requirements through internal research? What do you say about this, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose?
See, if we analyze history, there is a progression from dependence through independence to interdependence. In this fastly globalizing world, there is a lot of interdependence among countries. As far as defense is concerned, this kind of interdependence with the friendly countries is going to be there. It will help every country. See, the Quad discussions that we have, that also shows how important is interdependence, mutually supporting. As far as India is concerned, we know in international politics, there is no permanent friend, there is no permanent foe. There are only permanent interests. When India's interest does not clash with those countries like Russia or America or Japan or Israel, I think there is a lot of scope for us to join hands with these people. It may happen that at times there are conflicts of interest. But in a balanced society, it is not a conflict which matters, it's a balance which comes from out of this context that matters. As far as the globalizing world is fast expanding into a global village, there is need for increasing cooperation among various countries in the field of defense as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. C.V. Anand Bose. And thank you very much. Although you are not keeping well, but still you have given so much time. So thank you very much for your very, very inspirational talk about the defense research in India. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Mr. Jai Prakash Rao K. Mr. Jai Prakash Rao K is the former regional PRO of DRDO, Ministry of Defense, Government of India. He is a postgraduate in physics, journalism, PR, HRM, and political science. He entered in Defense Services as Chief Administrative Officer and PR at Aeronautical Development Agency, Bangalore, which is a premier design and development center for indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas, a most successful make in India program. He was on deputation to DRDO headquarters as regional PRO, South India. He served Dr. Kalam as liaison officer for 7 years. He is a national level award winner for best performance in the year 2008. He was awarded Hall of Fame from Public Relations Council of India in 2011. He was HR trainer of 30 years record. One moment, please.
Yes, sir.
He was awarded Hall of Fame from Public Relations Council of India in 2011. He was HR trainer of 30 years record. He is a noted Kannada writer with 4 books, all of which are reprinted many times. The important one is Agniya Reke Gulu, a translation of Wings of Fire, autobiography of Dr. Kalam. He, after retirement, became freelance writer, guest faculty of premier organizations like State Police Academy, State Administrative Training Institutions, nationalized banks, honorary media advisor of Mysore City Police. He is widely traveled in India and 24 other countries. He is a frequent speaker in AIR. At present, he is Zonal Chairman, South of Public Relations Council of India. Welcome, Mr. Jai Prakash Rao K on our show. Mr. Jai Prakash Rao, you have heard what Dr. C.V. Anand Bose has spoken. And before that, I would also like to thank you for extending those 2 very, very enlightening, informative videos. I'm sure all our viewers have enjoyed by seeing and enlightened by seeing the progress of the defense research in India, which were shown in those two videos of DRDO. Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, Dr. Bose has mentioned and gave credit to the scientist. Now, you are very closely associated with DRDO. And yeah, at one time, you have also mentioned that it is very, very difficult job of a PRO, because many times you have to speak and many times you have to not to speak many things. So, but definitely we would like to know whatsoever your own experience about the defense research in India. We would like to know from you, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao K, please. Please unmute. Please unmute. Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, please unmute. No, you have to unmute, please.
Yeah, I think,
Yes.
good morning to everybody.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm happy to have presented two vital video clippings, one on DRDO, 60 years plus DRDO, the growth and development of defense research in India. Other one is one of the most successful indigenous program, Tejas, light combat aircraft, which really proved a worth that India can do many things for the self-reliance in the area of self-reliance. And Tejas is the pride of India. Coming to the philosophy of defense research and development in India aims not only about the self-reliance, there is also some hidden development that we are doing or the nation is observing as well. That is, you say people and the media many times they confuse with the research program and production of equipment. You know, the research work, whatever field, is like a tapas. It's a meditation. It's a long way process, and you can't expect something like the production that put the raw material and you get the product at the end as fast as you can. Other one is the galloping speed of the technology, and I would like to say that the present war, whatever we are going to face, it will be electronic warfare. And there is always a guarantee that air power is super.
You have unmute, please, Mr. Rao, please unmute.
See that we are protected from the other hostile agencies we have, our eternal enemies we have. But I don't want to speak about the other countries which are a threat to us. But Balasya Moolam Vijnanam, that is our slogan that the DRDO had. After 1958, they started with the 10 laboratories, and now it is more than 50 labs as well, all over India. And it is tied to the different technology clusters. Our aim to give the art of what you call state of art technological support to the three wings of defense forces, Navy, Air Force, and the Army. And we have been able to give the much required support to all the defense forces over these years. But let me tell you, the world has seen that is what you call the supremacy of the armament lobby that exists in the world. That is a real threat for the developing nation and the poor nation. That what you have seen now, the vaccines, the poor nations and developing nations are waiting for the vaccine. They haven't got it now. It's really a threat for their survival. The same case with our modern defense equipment. Those developed nations who are superpowers, say some 6 countries in the world, they are equipped with all these technological high when compared to all other countries in the world. They have the one plus point is the basic infrastructure. The basic infrastructure to make it available for the research and production is a big story indeed. India had the same saga all those years. People talk about the social and political freedom. But when we spend crores of money for the imports that we are getting from the nation, from the other nations to safeguard our security and our country as well, you mean to say that when anybody can say that there's so big amount of the national exchequer is diverted for the defense purposes? Naturally, yes. when the same fund that could be utilized for our basic infrastructure and other developmental activities as far as the civil area is considered, we are lotting lot of money for the defense production. It is a barest necessary for a nation like India. But here the story starts. You can't start the defense activity as well unless you go for a basic infrastructure. As I told earlier, after the independence, people talk about the social and other political freedom, but nobody thought of the freedom in the science and technology area, which is a very toughest area, where the only learned the technographs and scientists can contribute for the development of science and technology in India. Whereas in political and social, all citizen people can join their hand. That way we are observing in the 70 years our what you call, as a nation we are seeing. Oh, very good, very nice. We are having a democratically well-knit organization. But what about our the freedom in the area of science and technology? We are happy that the people have given the credit to the scientists of India. I mean to say that not only the DRDO has been joining hands with the other scientific community in India, say ISRO, and all the academia, Institutes of Science, IITs in India. As well, we have opened up arm for the students also, the student participation. And over these decades, there's a huge change that not only our defense production is given to the our public sector undertaking, we are also joining we are calling our own private enterprise as our partners to see that we save our time. And the question of saving the time means, as I told earlier, in the great speed in which the technology goes, as my learner friend Dr. Bose told, you see, when you import certain armament for India, maybe aeronautics or whatever it is, no doubt everything is interfaced with your software. And every software support, you may be for the 3 years. And after the 3 years, we need to beg again. Come on, let us have one more software to see that our instruments are not obsolete. Maybe the digital flight counter systems or many other systems which support the main function of a defense equipment. In that respect, we should remember Dr. Sarabhai, Dr. Homi Baba, and up to Dr. Kalam. It's a big journey where not only I led the scientist community, they also give a lot of motivation support for the Indian science and technology to grow by the way of great motivation to our scientists. You know, the materialist pressure or whatever you get as a salary and perquisites may not be sufficient for an Indian scientist to completely dedicate for the nation. The advent of software, what you call technology, and the growth of technology, organized software industries in India has seen that our youngsters are going behind the software job. Thanks to Dr. Kalam, he told our scientists are not less to any other scientist of other country. Only thing is we have to channelize our youth power for nation building work. That there where it is, that is a secret of DRDO that we have opened up for the younger generation. Let me tell you happily in this contest that for our scientist entrance test, the cutoff percentage is 60%. And we have given a lot of opportunity for the students for the internal, their work, the project work, an internship, and you encourage a lot of educational program for the employees too. So that in the days to come, our more and more our youngsters who are working in the science and technology area should come down to DRDO and other research organizations in India to see that this work is continued as well. We are happy to see that the video here, they told more than 60% of our contribution to the nation in attending the requirements of the various defense forces. And let me tell you, they are not only our the end users, they are also our the partners in our journey. I'm happy to say that we start our journey starting from the drawing board and over the research, over the reviewer and the test and trials, and after the evaluation by the certifying agency, and then only it will be given for the mass production to the publicity undertaking, also to the public enterprise, so that encourage the private enterprise to join in the nation building work. Long way to go, the miles to go before speed. That is a great statement given by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So much is needed for India is to draw the attention of the youngsters to see that they involve in science and technology research work. They also join the armed forces and all related work to see that India becomes strong. We are a peace-loving nation, but we have to protect our shoulders. We have to keep up our border, our what you call nation as a country. We should remain as a democratic, independent nation. These all efforts lead to keep us see that we are alert, we are awake, and we are competent enough to protect ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, for enlightening us about the DRDO, how the DRDO is functioning, and how the DRDO is now training the young minds, those who are interested in the science and technology or the research. They are being trained by the DRDO. And what Mr. Jayaprakash Rao said, that the DRDO is not only doing the research for those aircrafts or technical teas of the armies, but also for the benefit, and that's why they are collaborating with many institutions like IITs, etc., and doing those things in combination so that it will be advantageful for the society at large. And he says that the DRDOs or the research wing have a very, very important role to play in the development of our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, for sharing your views. Now, I would like to invite my last but not the least panelist with us. He is Wing Commander U. Satyan, retired Indian Air Force. Wing Commander U. Satyan was commissioned on 10th December 1997 into the Aeronautical Engineering Mechanical stream of the IAF. He has 20 years experience working at various levels and portfolios in the engineering field, ranging wide from the surface to air missiles to maintaining aircraft like the Chetaks, Cheetahs, and advanced light helicopters, ALH, Aka, Dhruv. He has on-ground working experience in the engineering arena at multiple Indian Air Force aviation bases and a base repair depot. He functioned as the senior engineering officer at multiple units, including an aviation unit. He has worked at Air Headquarters, the central decision-making body of the IAF, as a joint director, and was involved in framing and incorporating policies and decisions for maintenance of aircraft, specifically the ALH variants, ALH Dhruv Mk1, Mk2, and the weaponized ALH Mk4 Rudra, manufactured by HAL. He was also involved in the phase-wise discussions of the latest Apache that IAF has recently acquired and light combat helicopters being designed and developed by HAL. Welcome, Wing Commander Satyan Unnikrishnan on our show. Wing Commander, you have heard Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, as well as Mr. Jayaprakash Rao. Both have enlightened us about the development of the research in a defense arena. You being yourself worked with the Air Force, you have dealt with the machinery yourself. Although the research work was done by the DRDO and other institutions, but you have handled yourselves the helicopters and other equipments. So definitely we would like to know your views on the defense research in India. Wing Commander Satyan Unnikrishnan, please.
Thank you, Goelji. I was the only aviation, unit in the fleet which was indigenized. That was one pertinent thing to note, and I've seen the absence of ALH being, discussed about. It is a silent success story because at present in the Indian Air Force, it is the only Indian aircraft. It was.
One moment, please. Yes, please go ahead. Sorry.
So it was as of now, it is the only Indian aircraft successfully operating for the past about 20 years. Now, LCA is still in the induction stages. They have started one unit of the LCA. The ALH from 2000 onwards has been functional in the Indian Air Force. So I've seen the functioning of that aircraft and also worked with HAL at various levels, starting from acceptance of the ALH Mark IIIs. I was the senior engineering officer of the first ALH Mark III unit in the Indian Air Force. So I had my share of experiences with working with HAL, their design teams, their research teams, and their manufacturing teams. When I came out from there, I was truly an enlightened man, because I came to know that success of a product, be it defense or anywhere else, depends on three major aspects: the designer, the manufacturer, and above all, the user. Now, a classic case, a little offshoot from the defense industry, is the case of the Tata Nano. Now, while it was a very brilliantly designed car, it had about round about 500 to 700 patents pending also of the latest technologies and latest manufacturing techniques used. The manufacturer had the intention of making it successful, but at the same time, what happened was the user, the public, did not expect or accept it the way it should have been. The result, it was not as a success as one would hope to. The same is with the Indian industry, Indian defense industry. Now, the designer may have the intent, the manufacturer may have the intent, but at the same time, if the hand holding is not there, the result can be catastrophic. The case in point is the HAL Marut. It was a brilliantly designed aircraft with German technology taken by HAL. It was an aircraft which would glide on its own without any power also. It would glide and come and land. What it wanted was an engine, a powerful engine to make it supersonic. But what happened? What it didn't get an engine. It had to be powered by a NAT engine to make it fly. The result was it stayed subsonic. At the most it could achieve was 1 Mach. And they said by the 1980s, the HAL Marut became obsolete. It was not the case. We still have the MiG-21s of 1965 vintage flying in the Air Force. It was this project, though it had reached a stage of some level of expertise, was shelved at that time. Now, that shelving is the trouble which we are facing in LCA today. Had we not stopped the design development of Marut at that stage, LCA would have been much easier to get around with. Nevertheless, LCA has still reached a stage where the first unit in the Air Force is being inducted. Where we are going wrong is the appropriate hand holding of the designers, the manufacturers, and the user, that is the Indian Armed Forces. I'm not saying about the hand holding at the highest level. When I have participated in the meetings from air headquarters, I realized there is a tremendous amount of hand holding at the highest level. But what is found lacking, this hand holding is somehow not percolating down to the bottommost level. That means the working hands, they are not exposed to this particular hand holding. They are not given the intent that this product or this defense technology needs to be successful. The result is that though there are numerous and tremendous achievements of the DRDO, which has been shown in the two initial videos, this is somehow not seen on ground when we go into the Indian Armed Forces. Like I said, ALH was the only Indian fleet operating in the aviation sector, whereas all the others were either Russian or the Western origins. Now, I had seen the difference between the requirement of repairs or the overhauls when comparing to an Indian fleet and a foreign fleet. On the same day, there were two accidents in which the ALH, one ALH at a place and a Mi-17 at a different place got damaged due to a ground incident. Now, they had suffered almost the same kind of damage. The landing gears had taken a direct hit with mechanized transport, rendering them not flyworthy. Now, in 3 months, the ALH was back in the air after HAL carried out the necessary repairs and replacement. And at the same time, in 3 months, the Mi-17 was not anywhere because the parts were not ready. It had to be imported from Russia. So this is the requirement. Indigenization has always been the need of the hour, but at the same time, the hand-holding, unless and until it goes up to the field level, the success will still be limited. So what can be done to increase the hand-holding is that it has to be incorporated both for the officers and the men of the armed forces right at the training stage. Not a familiarization visit, not a lecture by the DRDO or the HA. They have to be involved in the development process or the manufacturing process right from the day one. They have to be given exposure that this is what the requirement is, and this is what after 20 years or 25 years we are expecting the Indian Armed Forces to be. Because unless and until we have power, we cannot stay peaceful. Not with these kind of neighbors like Pakistan and China. You cannot expect peace from them unless and until we are powerful enough to convey to them that if you cross, we are ready to face you and defeat you. That can only happen when we are peaceful, but at the same time powerful enough. Because the great Abdul J. Kalam had said that only power respects power. So in my opinion, the fantastic and tremendous achievements of DRDO has to percolate, has to penetrate into the Indian Armed Forces down to the bottommost level as far as the equipment is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much, Wing Commander Satyan, for giving your views. And what Wing Commander has mentioned, very important point. He says he has given the example how the hand holding is important on the ground level. He has given the example, and he says there are three main components of the success of any product. And he says the first is the designing or the research, the other is the manufacturing, and the third is the users. And he has given the example of Nano car, Tata's Nano car, which was designed in such a way and was claimed to be it was one of the cheapest available car in India, but it failed. Although the reason, because I am doing this media conference and we have discussed this point again once and twice, and it was found that the reason was that when a family wants to purchase a car, he or she, the family head, never wants to purchase a cheap car to be termed as a cheap car. So that is one of the reasons which was in the minds of the Indian public. Otherwise, the Nano car was very suitable, especially for a nuclear family and those who are having as a substitute for the scooter if you are having more persons. But he has also given the examples of the HAL Marut aircraft. And he says the problem with that is that everything was nice except the engine. And because the engine, the supersonic engine required in that, which could not be developed, and we have used the NAT engine, which could not succeed. And that's why we have to keep those aircrafts abandoned, or we have to say goodbye to them. But he says, the indigenous research or indigenous equipments are far better for the maintenance of the aircraft. And he has given an example of two aircrafts, how they were damaged on the same day and almost the same type of damages. But within 3 months, the indigenous come out for the air, gone, but the other one could not because of the import, etc., etc. So he says we have to give more emphasis. We have to see to it that up to the last level, the hand holding should reach, so that the more and more encouragement will be there to develop indigenous equipments. Thank you very much, Wing Commander Satyan Unnikrishnan, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Mr. Jayaprakash Rao. Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, we have seen now, and it is coming in the media, that the future war will be a chemical war. And few mentioned about this COVID also as one of the part. And we have also seen that DRDO played a very, very important role for getting an indigenous vaccine developed, and which is the only vaccine which was developed indigenously and recognized now by the WHO, although lots of resistance by the WHO and other countries, because they never want that India should come out as a leader in the research field. But anyway, now our Covaxin has been recognized everywhere. So my question to you is DRDO is also doing research for chemical wars? Please unmute. Please unmute. Although I know that a few things you need not to speak, but in case if you feel like you can give some hints, because it's in the media domain that the many countries are developing those things which is going to be for the chemical war, and they says now this type of earlier the field face-to-face or army battalions or the aircrafts or the navy wars are not that much going to be, the main is the chemical war. So my question again, I am repeating, is DRDO also doing research for chemical war?
Yeah, this is a very difficult question I faced when I was in the service, and we were representing the organization, and the list of you should not talk about. And after coming out, when I no more representing the organization as well, do you mean to say that I declare here that DRDO is engaged in research area in biochemical warfare? It's a very difficult option for me. But in the general concept, I say, is any research organization, defense research organization in the world, always defense scientists look into the future warfare. The scientists all over the world think of the new concept of war, how it will operate in the days to come. I said air power is super. We thought that the fighter planes are very much powerful in the war, but now those days have gone now. Now it's what you call the days of the drones, the unarmed what you call aerial vehicles. So you use the UAVs carrying the warheads and do the exercise, and even if the enemy shot it, nothing is lost. We are not losing a fighter pilot for which nation is spending a lot of money and time. So the new way and concept of war is going on. Among those concepts, one is biochemical warfare, maybe this also. But this idea that this bacteria or virus is being carried in a cylinder in an aircraft over the 30,000 feet, go to the territory where this aircraft is not located by the radars. In some point of time, they drop this cylinder to a city of a kind of hostile nation and see that the fine morning, whole city, the people are dead. So that's a kind of warfare what you call people were thinking about. I mean that the scientists were thinking that the way of attack and the warfare will be changed. So maybe this was what you call it, consideration. Goel is very dear. I'm happy to see that you smile now, because I also talk very diplomatically now as I used to. But let me tell you, those things were aimed at how to recover the loss made due to such attacks. Number two, how to clean the atmosphere, and how to generate generate the what you call oxygen level in that area, etc., etc. Was where maybe the what you call the things the research organizations were looking into. And other area also, we have not spoken about the what you call the soldier as a system. We are thought of all these instrumental gadgets and the warfare equipment. But other area of operation is how to keep up the soldier fit. even the food that is provided to the soldier is under constant research. You mean the small organization, our unit like Defense Food Research in Mysore, they are doing a good job. You know what kind of food should be given to a fighter pilot or a particular transport aircraft pilot going for a long sortie, or what kind of food to be given for a submarine operators, and what food is provided to Rajasthan and Leh. Definitely, it will be a much different that the maintenance of the the freshness of the food, the natural ingredients, the vitamins, etc., and how to sustain for a long time, say 6 months. And other point is how ready to eat. You can't kindle a your burner or light is anything there to warm up your food in the lay for the soldier who is sitting in the bunker. Look at that. We have been involved in doing a lot of exercise and research in this area. And let me tell you, after our the defense use is over, we are very magnanimously giving such transfer technology to the general public, not a commercial basis or not on commercial basis. All this bisibede bar, the idli making machine, the dosa making machine is not a new thing for us. It has been developed and designed and developed for us, for the soldiers. Later, it was given to the private enterprise. And yes, these I don't say that for the organization as well. The decent research people always concerned about this very difficult and most dangerous aspect of chemical warfare. Where people, entire world was looking at Saddam Hussein, that one day he will go for it. In that area, we how to counter these actions in the warfare. It was in the line of thinking, but I don't declare anything. And much has been achieved
Okay.
there also.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. You have, without declaring anything, you have mentioned, and you rightly said. But very important point which you have mentioned is that DRDO is not only doing for the wars. DRDO is also doing for the kit which the soldiers or the aircraft users are using, and you have mentioned about the food. And when you are mentioning, I can see the smile on the face of Wing Commander, because I am sure that he might have used that food. And definitely, I am also curious to taste those type of food, because I am sure that food is a very healthy food, which the DRDO has done the research and provided, which I am sure that those who are using that food for the reason that they have to be always fit, and to keep them fit with the adequate amount of proteins and minerals, etc. The research is definitely praiseworthy. Thank you very much, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao. Now my question goes to Wing Commander Satyan. Although you have, as Mr. Jayaprakash Rao mentioned, you are laughing about the food. But my question to you is, do you think the Indian Air Force is adequately equipped to counter the threat from enemy countries like China because of the research in defense field provided the support to Indian Air Force? So we are ready now totally to counter enemies, and we know that the China is the main country, hostile country, the enemy country who is going to be the threat to us. What you say about that, Wing Commander?
The Indian Air Force is truly ready. As far as I'm concerned, as what I've seen in the past 20 years, it has always been ready to counter any threat from either China or Pakistan. We have always been a defensive force. That means we didn't have territorial ambitions against any other country. So the armed forces is adequately and appropriately geared up for such kind of a threat. Though we will not go on the offensive, but if there is any threat to our motherland, we are ever ready to face any of those threats, be it land, air, or sea. So in that way, in the Indian Air Force, with its manned aircraft, even we have unmanned aerial vehicles also, and missiles, the radars, we have always been gearing up continuously. That is, we have never been static in our preparations. We know that if we are ready today, that doesn't mean that we can sit back and relax in terms of our procurement in terms of our development or in terms of our training. So that has always been done. Now, what we are discussing right now is the defense research. How essential is the defense research for the Indian Armed Forces? So in future, probably a time limit needs to be set, probably about 20 years and 25 years. The examples can be taken from countries like Israel, which is surrounded by continuously hostile neighbors. In the 1947, was when India was fighting Pakistan, Israel had multi-pronged attacks on its territory and it countered them with homegrown technologies. When its armed forces came back saying about discussing about the limitations of the homegrown technologies and the requirement of getting foreign technology for the Israeli forces, the government said that this is the weapons with which we are fighting. You require development, you require improvement, do tell us, we'll work on that. But we have to fight with the available men who are in our country, men and women, and the available machines in our country. So some sort of a stand needs to be taken from the government as well as the armed forces plus the DRDO, that there has to be a time limit by which we should be self-reliant and self-sufficient in terms of technologies as far as the defense equipment goes.
Okay, thank you very much, Wing Commander, for giving your views. Before I will go, I just want to know, how do you like the food? What Mr. Jayaprakash Rao mentioned about the idli and dosa, the freshly cooked or those which were provided by the DRDO's research?
I will not stop at idli or dosa. We have even had butter chicken and many of the non-veg dishes which has been prepared by the DRDO and packed. The only thing that needs to be done is that boil water, dip this entire packet. No requirement of opening it. Dip the entire, and mind you, it is meant for the troops at highest levels. Even
Yes.
for people who are going up to the Everest. So during the trekking when we had done, we had been kitted with the DRDO products. So that's why I was smiling end to end when I heard about that. And it
Yes, you
was,
recollect your time.
yes. So
You
it was,
recollect your time, that time. Yes.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Big Commander. Now my question goes to Mr. Jayaprakash Rao. Mr. Jayaprakash Rao, the latest, as you also mentioned about the drones, now the technology is of spyware, like Pegasus we are imported or not imported. That is a matter of controversy. But why we are not developing those types of things in India, like Pegasus or the drones which are manless, and now it has come in the media that one can eliminate any of the particular person, even if he is in the with 10,000s of people and specifically surrounded by everybody by that drone. Are we doing also the research? If you can enlighten us about that also.
Yes, that area the research organization, defense organization in India, they are working since many years, and it has been first we were successful in designing, developing the drones, UAVs meant for the surveillance, and now taking the photograph from the other portion of the border, and it has been extensively used during the Kargil war and many other occasions. Such UAVs are used. But as I told earlier, the technology is grown and developed in such a way that the role played by the UAVs have changed. We have the UAV, the role has been changed now. No, formerly it was only for the surveillance and other purpose, the inbuilt cameras and night vision lamps, etc. But these UAVs are changed into the micro UAVs, and in a ways to see that it is very hardly visible to the radars. Even if this is located with the radar, if you shoot it out, nothing will take place. We are not losing anything. And if the minor repairs, it can refurbish and it can be used as well. But other part of the story of UAVs is carrying the warheads and drop to the army areas. That has been practiced now. They're very dangerous because you have seen the commandants and the army officers in Iraq and Israel. They were shot when they were addressing the gathering over the sky. I have seen in YouTube how a general has been shot by the UAV over the top, and much what you call difficult areas, the use of satellite system, wherein missiles are operated from the satellites. The more complicated world things that were taking place in the defense research of the entire world. I don't want to quote in India, because much that is there. When the technology grows, the terrorists, not only you, Mr. Goel, when we speak about the internal enemies, the enemies are here also. The extremists, the the terrorists. So many such anti-social elements are here. They are more equipped technically than our armed forces. So we need to think about that. We need to think about our own inbuilt enemies in the name of terrorism. It is it's very difficult for a nation to face.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Now my question goes to Wing Commander. Wing Commander, right now the era of artificial intelligence we are using. Now, keeping that in mind, what do you think is the extent of Indianization of the defense production in the country, and what is the way forward to be India to be self-sufficient?
I'll be speaking in context of, again, the experience in the Indian Armed Forces that I had, how much we have seen to be used. The artificial intelligence has been started used in armament disposal. That is for disposing of that is the unexploded ammunition, where it is too dangerous to send a human. We are sending the remotely controlled robots to initiate ignition of the unexploded bombs. And UAV is a classic example of using artificial intelligence in terms of weapon delivery platform, because we may say that it's an aircraft, but for the military it's actually a weapon delivery platform. So every time that weapon delivery platform is being launched, a man is being sent along with it, which is a precious commodity as far as India is concerned. We cannot afford to lose humans as what was there in the history when we go to war. We have to protect our own forces while delivering the maximum damage to the enemy forces. So yes, as of now, though in the aviation sector, it is only the unmanned aerial vehicles and the unmanned combat aerial vehicles that have been seen employment of artificial intelligence. We are seeing a time in future wherein even the manned aircraft, there will come a day when the manned aircraft will also be powered remotely and being flown to the enemy territory. So that is what I'm looking forward.
Okay, thank you very much. So viewers, today you have heard the expert views about the defense research in India. And they are very clear that our research, our scientists are not the second one, they're rather the leaders. And they are working day and night to safeguard, not only to safeguard, but to provide the better life for the society. And as our panelist has mentioned, and it is there that they are not only doing the research only for the arms and ammunitions, but they are doing research for many fields, whether it's for the food. And once they provide the food, the hygiene food and the food which is required to be consumed by the soldier who is on a very high altitude, or by someone who is flying a airplane, the warship aircraft, or working in a submarine. But also afterwards, they are providing the technology to the private, so that the public is also getting how to keep in the hygiene conditions and the shelf life. But they are also doing work for the vaccines, the biomedical field, which is very important, because India today is a proud nation who is having developed the indigenous vaccine. This is not a small feat of the DRDO. And all of this view that we are doing lots, it's a way ahead. We have to go miles to go. But before that, The way they are working is tremendous. I think Mr. Rao wants to say something for 30 seconds. Yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Rao, you want to say?
I also say that the DRDO is working on the area of life science. See, the safeguard the health parameters of a fighting soldier, maybe in the far-long place or anywhere where your helicopter cannot go.
Okay.
We are taking care of the
Okay,
soldiers.
thank you, Mr. Rao. So they are also
Life
working
science.
for the life science also. So we have to give the credit. Are we giving as a civil society the credit, or we recognize only those who have been killed or become shaheed, or we have to give the recognition to the unsung heroes of our army or the air force or the navy, those who are working day and night behind the doors to give them the best support so that the Indian Army, Indian Navy, or Indian Air Force can conquer, if required, any war, for which our experts have mentioned that we are totally ready and quite up to 60% we are indigenous, and in future we will be more indigenous. And for the youth, I will only say, please do some research, join DRDO or go to them, visit them, learn whatsoever things, so that India can proudly say after some time that today we are totally independent as far as defense is concerned. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Karu News, as well as shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor to bring to you every day new topic in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow our topic is importance of good parenting. Yes, you heard rightly, importance of good parenting. And our panelists are Miss Madhu Pandey, Principal Sharda World School Agra, Dr. Shweta Sharma, renowned clinical psychologist, North Zone representative, Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists, Gurugram, Dr. Priyadarshini, Mrs. World Supermodel 2019, Chairperson, Harsha Modern Diagnostics and Modern Medical Center, founder, Soul Beat Wellness, Bengaluru, Rotarian Ritika Gupta, CEO of Ma Saraswati Hospital, and Face Yoga Practitioner, Mathura. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Mr. Jayaprakash Rao. Thank you very much, Wing Commander Satyan Unni Krishnan. And thank you very much, Dr. CVR and Bose, although you are not there. But all the views which has been given, I am sure it's a very, very enlightened program for all our viewers. And thank you all the viewers for joining us and watching our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.